Hiya friends, Prepared Suburbanite back with you. Well, today I want to get into a little bit of an economics lesson. I've been watching the development of the Kamalanomics answers to our inflation and tax situation. And she's advocating for price controls, and she's advocating for no tax on tips, and she wants to increase the child tax credits. And if those last two don't sound real familiar, then stick around and I'll get into some detail right after the intro. So as you may remember, a couple of weeks ago, Donald Trump started advocating for no tax on tips. And he tried to encourage folks to, when they left a tip at a restaurant or other kind of a service environment, that they write that on there that Trump is advocating for no tax on tips. And guess what? Kamala Harris decided to copy that particular policy and went right out and said that she's going to advocate for no tax on tips. Well, how about that? So she mercilessly stole Trump's idea on taxing tips. And then yesterday, here in Wake County, here in Raleigh, she decided that she was going to advocate for increasing the child tax credit to $6,000. Now, that's if that sounds familiar, J.D. Vance, just within the most recent last couple of weeks, was advocating for an increase to the child tax credit of $5,000. So she unforgivingly stole that idea from the Trump campaign and from J.D. Vance. She's also advocating for some sort of a subsidy for down payments on first home buyers that would do $25,000 that could go to qualifying first home buyers. Well, that all sounds good. But I think folks really need to understand that those kind of cheating policies, where she's stealing it from the opposition party and trying to come up with other forms of subsidies, are just simply pandering to the crowd. And that's all she's doing. So I want to expose some of the fallacies that surround those kind of policies, and most particularly on her advocation for price controls. Now, she believes that the groceries, inflation in the grocery sector, is all caused by corporate greed. And I think we have to call her out on that and say, show us the receipts. Show us where you can prove that groceries companies, food companies, all the stuff that goes into our grocery stores, how many corporations are involved in real-for-real price gouging. I don't think she can produce a single receipt that says that price gouging is a frequent occurrence. Now, does it happen? I'm sure it does from time to time. I can remember back during the flood of 1972 in my hometown, there was a little local grocery store that had a supply of bread and milk. And when the whole city shut down because of the flood, he quadrupled his prices for bread and milk. And folks needed that stuff. They were not prepared for, as we are today, if you're listening to this channel. But he came under quite a lot of scrutiny, darn near lost his business because he was price gouging. So it does happen that price gouging occurs in this kind of a situation. But to say that the entire grocery store conglomerate of corporations is engaged in price gouging and that they're all greedy capitalists and all that just doesn't pass the smell test. I don't think that there is the level of price gouging or any kind of level of price gouging going on in the grocery store business. So let me tell you what she's saying. She wants to put a cap on the pricing of the foodstuffs that we buy from our grocery stores. And what's that going to do? Well, we can take a lesson from history on that. What it will do is decrease the supply. It's because folks that are manufacturing canned corn or frozen peas or hamburgers or hot dogs or whatever it is, they're not going to be incented to maintain the status quo at a lower price. So the supply is going to go away. They don't want to invest an awful lot of time and corporate resources in manufacturing their goods that they want to sell at a loss or at a zero profit. So they're going to reduce the supply. And that is, when you look at the law of supply and demand, that will increase demand. Well, because some folks are going to be thinking, well, now that price controls are in effect, I can just go load up on all the stuff that I normally buy and get a really good price now that all those price gougers are under control. Well, yeah, demand will go up until it surpasses the supply, and if they can't charge a little bit more to cover the cost of putting the goods on the shelves in the market, we've got a huge imbalance in the supply and demand balance, and it just throws it all out of whack. Nixon tried to do this during the oil crisis back in the 70s, and they learned almost immediately that it just wasn't going to work, and they reversed their policies very, very quickly. And as it turned out, the free market was able to compensate for the lack of supply that the oil embargo and the oil crisis of the 70s did. I can remember paying 28 cents a gallon for gas, and then all of a sudden it was like well over $1 for gas, and you couldn't get it on odd days of the week or even days of the week, and you could only get $5 worth or $10 worth or 10 gallons or whatever it was. So they really caused even more havoc when they were trying to solve the problem. That's what's going to happen with price controls in the marketplace. Now, there's two other effects that we need to be aware of for this kind of price control communist craziness, and that is that the quality of the goods that we are so used to will decline. Manufacturers will find cheaper ways to package things, to manufacture things. They will use less than standard goods to make their product, and they will try to cut corners everywhere they can to stay in a situation where maybe they can make a nickel on a pack of hot dogs or a can of corn. And so the quality will go down. And that's just a fact of life. And the fourth impact that's very, very important to understand is that there will be the creation of a black market. What form it may take, yet to be seen, but there will be a black market out there. And as most of you all know, that black markets usually do not have the quality control that's needed and necessary to make sure that the products that we get are safe. So you end up with unsafe products at a higher price. The supply and demand is out of whack, so the whole thing crashes in on itself. So if she's allowed to move forward with her initiatives for the price controls in the marketplace and for all this other nonsense that she's stealing, stealing the good ideas from the Trump campaign and the J.D. Vance, she's got a long way to go. There are too many fallacies, there are too many questions, there are too many issues of morality that she needs to answer to. And do you think she's ever going to sit for a real for real interview with real for real journalists that are going to ask her the tough questions? I don't think so. Next week, the Democrat National Committee Convention is going to occur in Chicago, and I can hardly wait to see what kind of nonsense is going to come out of that confab. It's going to be in Chicago, and I can remember in 1968 what happened in Chicago at the Democrat National Convention. I just hope that it's not as bad as that. This is the Prepared Suburbanite with this week's economic lesson, the fallacies of price controls. I'll see y'all on the next video.